So ultimately, really, the best things that we can do, as far as I see, whether the world is a good place or a horrible place, the best things that we can do is make ourselves into the most expanded and best person we can do. The reason that I do my research these days, I mean, when I started this a decade ago, I will admit I entertained the fantasy that somehow I might write the book that is the sledgehammer to smash the walls of secrecy down. I did. I mean, I'll admit this. And, well, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe one day. Maybe the second book or maybe some other book. But that's no longer my primary motivation. So then I ask, well, why do I do this? Why do I devote so much of my life? I could be doing other things. I could be hanging out at the beach. I do what I do because, honestly, I am genuinely fascinated by this, and I want to figure this out. And I feel that in exploring this, that I'm somehow contributing to other people who want to know. Whether that will result in the creation of justice or not, I don't know. I have a faith in cosmic justice. I have a faith that there's a universal justice, but that's not what drives me. It's because I don't want to spend my life sitting on my ass doing nothing productive with it. And this is the best thing that I could think of doing. So, I mean, ultimately, look, if we're going to be enslaved by these ultra-terrestrials, there has always been, as far as I can see, a realm for personal freedom. And the key to that is recognizing that you have the ability to think for yourself. Unfortunately, most people never get to that point. They don't realize that they have the ability to decide what kind of person that they can be.
That's something that we talk about a lot because we meet all sorts of people, and there's all sorts of people come to Signs of the Times, and there are people who read our material and it clicks. There are people who have that need, that they're driven for the truth. Mm-hmm. And we were talking recently and about the idea that there is a truth. And it's something that I know that you share with us, this idea that you can know reality and there is something to know, and you can then communicate that to other people.
Absolutely.
That's what underpins that idea of the truth is what underlies all of our motivations, and I can speak here for Richard. I mean, it occurred to me to ask you, are you really, it said that you're interested in UFOs, but are you interested in UFOs? I mean, personally, I'm not interested in them in terms of, because the term to be interested in something is taken to mean I like them or I have a vested interest in them in some way. I'm not. This is actually an accusation that is leveled at people. You know, that you have a vested interest in, for example, if you're a 9/11 conspiracy theorist, you just don't like the Bush government. You're a Democrat maybe or something, so that's why you're promoting 9/11 conspiracy theories. You know. I'm not interested in any of these things.
Right, it's not a like or it's not like.
I'm interested in the truth, the truth, and when I see lies, it's that galls me. Lies gall me, and it's my interest in the truth that drives me to try to overturn those lies and combat those lies. I would be very happy if UFOs just went away, and if 9/11 went away. You know, and all the nasty conspiracy theories or all the nasty reality of this life and the obvious lies and suffering and death that's going on, if it all went away, I'm not interested in any of that. But there it is, and I do want it to go away. I want to make a better world.
I think as rational, intelligent beings, that we have a right to be offended when our governments lie to us so egregiously on these important matters. We have a right to expect truthful government. That's called the social contract. And that's an old concept that has been, I think, trampled on and by certainly the current presidential administration in the U.S. and really for many, many years by many governments now. And it's getting worse, not better.
Absolutely.
So we have a right to expect truth, and we certainly have an obligation to fight for it. Yeah, I believe, as everyone here, that truth is not relative, it's real. But of course, it's often hidden, so we have to search for it. That's a lifetime's work.
Well, we would like to thank Rich for coming in and talking with us. To those of our listeners who are interested in 9/11 and think that UFOs are a load of poppycock, I can only urge you to pick up Rich's book, UFOs in the National Security State. If you think that this stuff doesn't exist, there's documents, there's documentation. Mind control technology exists. You need to know about this because they're beaming it down on you. If you live in the United States, you're getting this stuff fed to you through your television. You're getting it fed to you through God knows what kind of beams, through microwaves. You need to know that this exists so you can learn to feel it. You can learn to make a distinction between what are your own thoughts and feelings and what are the thoughts and feelings that you are being encouraged to feel through this technology that is being used to control you.
Yeah. Well, that was, I guess we're wrapping up, but one thing that I can add very quickly, I hope, in writing my book, there's the UFO cover-up part of it, but you're alluding to mind control. This is something that I did study in the course of writing my book, and simply to point out, on one reason to point out that the groups that cover up on UFOs are the same kinds of groups that covered up on mind control. But the mind control connection is more important than even for setting the stage or for flavor. Mind control is something that elites do to us, and they do it in a variety of ways. They can do it through technology. So in other words, the capability to harness the human mind. This is an active field of study in the intelligence world. They've been doing this for more than 50 years. They're very good at it. All right, through a variety of technology. And then there's the propaganda form of mind control. And I think if you want a global reach, that's actually the most insidious. Mm-hmm. And the best way to control someone's mind is by having them turn on their television set.
There's a lot of people in the say the 9/11 movement that would recognize that the media is the first bulwark of mind control.
Yes, that's right.
But then they go, okay, but I understand that, and I see how the media works.
Right.
But they don't understand that there's this other technology that's being used. They dismiss that completely.
Right. And in fact, what we know is that, even in the 1950s, there was very, very advanced work being done to create the so-called Manchurian Candidate. Richard Condon wrote that book in 1959. He didn't just write it out of thin air. So that, in other words, that it was very well understood within the CIA and in the KGB, certain techniques that made mind control very amenable. And that is simply, they don't stop that. Once you find out that you've got something effective there, once you know how to break down a human personality and control it and create an assassin who doesn't even know that they're an assassin, for example, or there's different ways of controlling the human being. These are very sophisticated. The ways that figures into the 9/11 cover-up or the UFO cover-up, these are things that we can, I guess, explore, but those technologies are real. I guess the main thing that a 9/11 researcher needs to come away with, though, is that the UFO phenomenon is also very real.
Well, you made a comment recently about some of this UFO information. It's not classified, it's proprietary.
Yes, that's right. This is something that was originally told me by, again, one of my several interesting contacts. This was a person who had very good relationship for a little while with a former 4-star general, former member of the Joint Chiefs, who told this individual, he said, this general had said, look, defense people, military people, we're really not the guys who are in charge of this anymore. This is not a classified issue so much as it is proprietary. And again, this speaks to the handing off of technology to private interests and the increasing levels of control over the whole topic by private groups. What we have, really, you can say, is a rogue clique that seems to control the bulk of this UFO information. Who are these guys? I don't know their identities fully. I have some suspicions.
And it's probably better that you don't know their
It probably
identities.
is. That's right. But, the privatization of the global political system, again, this is something that an ordinary researcher can probably understand. That same privatization has occurred within the UFO cover-up.